Right, here I'll be converting ordinary numbers back into standard form. Just a quick recap of what standard form numbers look like. First part has to be between 1 and 10. It needs to have a time symbol, a base 10, and a power. That power could be positive or negative. Positive powers represent larger numbers, negative powers represent very small numbers, microscopic size numbers. So let's start with this one. Ignore the trailing zeros and then copy the 4 and 6. First number, the first part of the standard form has to be between 1 and 10, so force it to become 1 and 10, between 1 and 10. It needs to have a time symbol and a base 10, and it needs to have a power. Well, to determine that, I want you to imagine that this decimal point is between 4 and 6, right there. Ask yourself the question, how many places do I need to move the decimal point to get it to the very end, to the far right hand side? 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go, put the 4 there. You can check to see if this is correct by working backwards, and this is what we saw in the previous video, to change standard form back into an ordinary number. Remember, if it's a positive power, move the decimal point 4 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal point is no longer there, it's right here. Fill in the empty spaces with zeros. There you go, 46,000. We had 46,000 over here. So this is correct. Ignore the trailing zeros and copy this part. Force it to become between 1 and 10 times base, and a number needs to go there. Right, need to imagine that the decimal point is between the 3 and 7. How many places do I need to move the decimal point to get it to the far side, far right hand side? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you put the 5 there. And you can also check in a similar kind of way. This one, well, how do I represent that? Well, there's no trailing zero, so there's nothing to cross off here. So we need to include the entire number. So just copy the entire number. Force it to become between 1 and 10. Imagine that the decimal point is right here. How many places to get it to the far right hand side? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10 to the power of 5. There you go, there's the 5, because it moved 5 places to the right. Right, I know automatically that these ones, I mean, these were large numbers. These are tiny numbers, very small numbers, so these will have negative powers, like this one. Ignore the zeros to begin with, copy the 317. Force it to become between 1 and 10. Now imagine that this decimal point is between the 3 and the 1. Now ask yourself the question, how many places do I need to move that decimal point to reach this decimal point over here? 1, 2, 3. So it's 10 to the power of minus 3. Ignore the zeros, write 5 and 3. Force it to become between 1 and 10. Now imagine that the decimal point is between the 5 and 3. Ask yourself the question, how many places do I need to move this decimal to reach this decimal point? 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 to the power of minus 4. You can quickly check to see if this is correct. Just very quickly show you. And this is what we did in the previous video. When you times with the base 10 with a negative power, if it's a negative power, move the decimal point this time to the left, 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the decimal point's not there anymore, it's right here. Fill in the empty spaces. and then put one more 0 in front of the decimal point. So now look, we got 0.000. Got 4 zeros, and in the original number we had 4 zeros as well. So this is correct.